Okay, welcome to this week's edition of the Chat Room Podcast. No guests. You're going to get to know us this week.
Yeah, is this the first week there's no guest?
I know. We need to do this more often. Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you for everyone who came out to my presentation last week. I truly appreciate it. I hope you learned something that can help you become a better investor. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'm open to discussion all the time about the stock market. And then on May 31st at 6:30 here at 1625 Washington, Albert will be teaching a seminar on short selling, which is basically a way to make money when the market declines. Again, that's May 31st, 6:30, 1625 Washington Avenue. To RSVP, go to wearestocktraders.com. Now, for the disclaimer, all opinions expressed on this podcast are solely the opinions of Al, Michael, and guests, and do not reflect the opinions of We Are Stock Traders. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied on for investment decisions. All right. What's going on, Al?
Nothing much, man. Just another week.
How's your trading been going this week?
Pretty good. I didn't only trade 2 days this week because I had to work a couple of days, but pretty good so far. Just trying to stay consistent. That's it.
Okay.
I got a problem with my consistency. Like, I have a good day, then I'll have a terrible day that kind of offsets the day before. So, I'm kind of up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Just get steady.
Well, I mean, this market hasn't really been helpful.
No, it's starting. The volatility is leaving though. And that might be another thing. It's not volatile like it was last month.
Yeah.
I do way better when it's real volatile because I don't have to use a lot of size. I can just let things happen because it's so much rain. But now everything's just trending slowly, or up or down. It's kind of boring, I guess. I get bored.
Yeah. I wonder what moves it next because I don't really
know
see.
this Korea stuff. That's not really helping. You put the meeting off.
Yeah, but I think that's already been considered at this point.
But this is every day. All right, the Dow moves up 250 points off some stupid stuff that Trump.
Yeah, I think people are tired of it at this point. I don't know if it's going to keep pushing it that much. Yeah. I'll be surprised.
I agree.
All right, so I wanted to start off by talking about the marijuana industry because I get a bunch of questions on this. And it's a very risky industry because it's just starting out. It's a lot of penny stocks out there, and I don't want people to get burned. So I will tell you, and I posted this on my social media, but a great source of information is the Scott's Miracle Grow conference call. They actually have they have their consumer lawn and garden business, but they also have a smaller segment that does indoor, urban, and hydroponic garden business. So they really get to see what's going on out in the market, especially in California. And it's actually been it's been pretty much of a struggle in California, going from a loosely regulated medical marijuana to strictly regulated recreational marijuana. And so one of the big problems has been, instead of the state running the actual laws for the recreational marijuana, they're giving the counties control. And so now the counties are all different. It's all over the place, and some of them don't even have rules yet. So only 12 out of the 58 counties are granting licenses, and only 3,200 licenses have been issued. Because that's been pushed back so much and people aren't getting those licenses, it's actually been a buildup of supply. So people actually produced a lot of cannabis at the end of 2017 waiting for the big boom, but they can't get out the door. And then they actually some counties are charging up to a 40% tax, which is making people just go back to the black market. So they're having discussions about the taxes. All in all, it's just been a mess trying to get this thing to go from medical and recreational. It's going to take a while to get everything pushed through. So if you are in that industry and you're looking towards California, it might be a while before you actually see gains. So if you're going to do it, I would say stay long term. And the two ways I think you can play it is Scott's Miracle Grow and Constellation Brands. Like I mentioned, Scott Miracle Grow has a business where they provide all the supplies for people that want to grow marijuana and sell it. And then Constellation Brand, they're actually a beer, wine, and spirits company known mainly for Corona Modelo. But they also have a 10% stake in Canopy Growth, which is one of the largest publicly traded cannabis suppliers in the world, and they actually have options to buy more of that company. So, and they're actually working together with them to develop a cannabis business beverage, probably in 2019. So I've asked Al to take a look at the charts of Constellation Brands and Scott's Miracle Grow. So I think you're going to talk about Constellation Brands first.
Yeah, Constellation Brands. It's actually just pretty much been going straight, like trending from what I've been seeing for like the last year. Kind of bottomed out at like $140, and then it topped out at like 100, like 240. So it's hanging around like 220. Usually when things start to trend up like that, it'll pull back so people can take profits. So within like the next 6 months, I'm looking forward to come retest those highs about 240 and break out. And like the good thing about this company is it's not all invested in the cannabis industry. It has
Yeah.
its own like what its first business does. So if things are like stagnant or whatever, then it has other things that causes it to grow, and then when that picks up, it'll probably escalate. So which is good, but it's weird because like it seemed like everybody was waiting on California.
Yeah.
So like,
Of course it happens. It gets all backed up.
exactly. And it's like this is what everybody was waiting for. So and it's like it happens to this state like now. Like it was the big build up. It's like everybody's waiting for this big IPO, and then like on the first day it just tanks.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to
oh my
be.
God.
That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful when everyone's into it. There's probably no. You're gonna really have an edge.
I was about
So
to say that's the bad part about it. Everybody's doing the same thing, and then something bad happens where it just kind of causes like a hold up. It's like everybody's gonna do the same thing again, so it's like it's not really like good. So
yeah, the key is to catch the wave before everyone else does. Then you ride that wave and jump off.
exactly, like basically you buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yeah. And that's why I told. If people ask me, that's why I told them these two. These are the safest bets, especially with such a young industry. There's no telling who's going to be the winner or who's going to be the loser. If you like that risk, that's fine. Go for it. But I know a lot of them are penny stocks and they trade very volatile. So I would much rather take the safe route and see it. Hey, if it blows up, these two companies should benefit. I don't see why they
And
wouldn't.
it's kind of like how you say it, like it's with the penny stocks, it's everything that they're doing is invested in this one thing. So like if it's not working, then the company's not gonna maintain whatever it's doing because that's all it has. So like right now I'm looking at this Scott's Miracle Grow company, and I actually like this a lot too because it's right on support. Um, at 80, it's a little bit more affordable um, than the first company we were talking about, which was in the 200s. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're a little bit you know your cash isn't where you need it to be or whatever, it's on support already. So like the next move is back to the upside. So basically it was trending up from like 70, and it went to like 100, and then it pulled back to 80, and then it broke out over that 70 and it went to 110, and
Yep.
now it pulled back to 80. So
That was everyone waiting for the big California boom. Then they reported numbers which were weaker than expected because that boom didn't happen, and they had to explain how everything's backed up. But they're having a conference. They're going. So these companies go to conferences and they give speeches, talk about their company, get people to invest. They're talking about in June, and they're going to talk more about mainly their main business, which got pushed back because of the late winter. April sales didn't do so well, so they expect to see that come back, but they're going to give an update in June and probably give an update on the California status as well. So you can go to their investor relations page and look out for that. For disclosure purposes, I own Constellation Brands. I did not buy Scott's Miracle Grow yet, but I probably will sooner or later because it looks like you said, it looks like it bottomed around 80 like last week when it sold off, and that looks like good support to me as well. And so I would take that 10% downside for another 20, potentially 20% upside.
and that's I say minimum 20%.
Yeah,
So
that's just back to the highs.
absolutely. So yeah, like once it breaks those highs, which I feel like the way it kind of looks like all the good news is probably going to come all at the same time.
Yeah,
So like you got all the scary people when the California thing kind of confused everybody. Just started selling when it because they was waiting. So they probably bought at the top anyway. And once they all got out, this is the best time to buy. From my estimation.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if a lot
definitely
of
a great
people know like
opportunity.
they have that separate business. And same with Constellation Brands. I don't know if a lot of people. I think people in the investing world know, but I don't think a lot of like retail investors might know about these two companies. These aren't mentioned when you think about
Right.
weed stocks.
Yeah, because it's not like their number one go-to baby or
Yeah.
whatever.
And they're
I
not
think that's
and they're not volatile, so they're not
exactly, and I think
sexy.
that's the best thing to do. Like when you're getting like, I'm not super familiar. I've traded weed stocks before, but like penny stocks, I had no reason or no idea or no thought to like invest in those because like you were saying, they're volatile. It's not like if I were to invest in a company, it would be something like this where they have some type of money invested in that industry, but they have so many other things going on that if that's not working or if it's a little more down the road or whatever, they're still going to be doing fine based off of some of the other things that they decide to invest in. So I think these are two really good starts to the companies if you want to get into the marijuana like industry.
Yeah, because if you're not familiar with Constellation Brands, like that's Corona and like Modelo are the only beers that are like growing. Like everything else is either staying flat or declining in sales. So those are the ones young people really go to, me included. So that business is doing very well. Their main business. So this is the Axe Canopy Growth
It's like icing on
investment
the
is like
cake
yeah,
for them.
it's
Yeah,
like cherry on top. So if that can take
absolutely.
off, they're just gonna make money.
I'm about to say they're already doing well anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like they're indifferent to if it does or if it doesn't. So I think that's the best way to
Yeah,
approach it.
and it makes sense. They know how to market, and they have distribution for these vice company, like just for this like type of vice business. So why would if they can do alcohol, why can't they figure out like marijuana?
Absolutely, it's the same thing, different thing. Like just
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think another thing going on in California is they're making that everything getting pushed back is going to hurt like smaller growers who can't afford to wait until they get a license. So it might knock them out of the business where only the bigger players are going to be left. And you have those bigger players, chances are if they might use Scott's Miracle Grow since they are a big company and they're lined up to actually provide the services. So that could be a boost to them. So we'll see. That's the thing I'm keeping an eye on. It's very interesting.
It is very interesting, and it's funny because like I didn't really know too much about these companies until recently when you introduced me to them. So it's definitely because this marijuana thing is definitely coming. I mean, I figured it would be a little further along at this point, but it's definitely one of those things that when it gets here, it's
You're gonna wish.
it's gonna be huge. So
Yeah,
like all the people who've been invested for like 5 or 10 years, they're definitely gonna get their money's worth. So
yeah. I just wonder when it's going to be federally like clear. I don't know why they're taking so long. Like if you're gonna or just let the states do it. I mean Utah. I mean, if the states got the power, I don't know if Utah would do it, but all the rest of them would probably do it if you let them. So
I mean absolutely because they're gonna make so much money
yeah,
off of that because I mean it's funny like why they do stuff. Like you think about it's kind of just like the liquor business like it's controlled by like especially in this state Pennsylvania. You know they see how much money bootleggers to make off selling alcohol. So they're like, all right, let's get opposite action. So like every state, especially some of the states that's having problems with money and things like that, in some of the bigger cities, this is just an extra way for them to make more money just off taxing something that they know everybody does a lot of. So it's like easy money for them. It's like the soda tax. It's like just easy money to them. So
yeah,
they're definitely gonna get involved. It's just a matter of when, not if.
yeah. So we'll see. All right. I also next I wanted to talk about why it's important to not go when earning season's going on. It's important not to just go off of headlines because you can lose money. Because if a company misses, it might be a reason. It might be a bad reason. The company might be doing bad, or it just could be like a rough quarter. So two things I wanted to point out. One was Home Depot that missed on sales last week, and some people interpret it as there was a slowdown in housing, but the real problem was the cold weather in April. So that really hurt their gardening sales, which usually make up 15 to 20% of their first quarter sales. And then if you backed out their gardening sales, their same store sales were fine. And so far in May, management is seeing double digit same store sales growth. So it looks like the garden sales got pushed out to May because of the weather. And the stock went right, it went down and went right back up. That's one. And another one was Take Two, which they missed they pretty much they missed by a good margin on the quarter, and their guidance was lower than expected. So for the quarter, they missed on NBA 2K, and I do think that's the Fortnite effect. There's a lot of younger people play Fortnite. They probably play 2K, weren't buying as much VC and recurring and other like recurring consumer spending, is what Take Two calls it. But then their current quarter came out, but their revenue for the current quarter was lighter because they had a Grand Theft Auto update last year, which you can't look at this video game company from quarter to quarter because the release is all different. It's damn near impossible. I tried to do a model for Take Two. It makes no sense. And then for 2019, so their fiscal year is from April to March. So for this fiscal year, their estimates were lower because they moved the video game release out to 2020. But this stock was down to like 7% to like 104. But once the conference call started, it actually went right back up. So do not react to headlines. Read the conference call before you make any decisions because you can actually find out more information. Maybe it was a bad quarter. Maybe there's something to panic about. But it's essential to listen to the conference call because you can sell real quick and lose a lot of money.
You know the funny thing about like some of the companies that you've just been talking about. I've literally seen just about all of them: Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Take Two. It seemed like every opportunity was a buying opportunity for just the poor earnings, just because of a technicality. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like most times when you like, all right, bad earnings, you get nervous because it's something. But these are just the technicality of the way either when a game was supposed to come out or games or because spring didn't really come, it just went straight from like winter to like summer. So like those things that you can't really control and well, you can control like when you put a game out or whatever, but they know that when the game comes out it's going to do what they expect it to do. It's just the fact that they just didn't have anything lined up at the time when earnings came out.
Yeah.
So they really wasn't doing anything, but like some of these other companies like the Targets and the Lowe's and the Home Depots, literally maybe that one first day of the earnings call, the earnings report, they had like maybe like a 1, 2, 3%. After that, it was right back to pretty much where it was at prior. So it's like that lets you know what the people who are really invested in the stock really think about what's going on. So that's another thing too. Like, don't react. Just see what happens, and if the majority is not bothered, then you know that it's nothing. So that's really important.
Yeah, it's like knowing the business. Just like if you open a restaurant, I'm going to ask you questions. I should know the business that well. Like, don't. I think a lot of people. It's easier said than done, but don't get caught up in the day-to-day stock price movements like that. That the stock price does not always match the value of the business because there's traders in there, there's short-term people, and then there's the long-term investors. So get to know it. It's I like to say the easiest way to make money is know the business, but that takes time, so it's not that easy. But get to know the business, know what's going on, and then you can make decisions and you'll get buying opportunities like you did in these two stocks. So
Great buying opportunities, very good.
So you're looking at Take Two right now.
Yeah, right now it's pretty much literally close to breaking over 120, which it back in like the beginning of the year, 130 was like
it was there. Mm-hmm.
So and basically it's right back here testing. I mean, it could pull back again, back to support like around in the 90s, which would also be a great buy opportunity because it looks like a head and shoulders pattern. Like basically it was like the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So it could possibly come down maybe to the 200-day or something. But it looks really good to me. So if I'm looking on a long-term basis, I might expect it to come down to about 100, and I'll be probably looking to scale into positions,
Yeah. One, and that's
stuff
another
like
thing.
that.
Once you know the stock, once you, because I've owned Take Two since December 2016. But once you follow the stock for a while, like I added to my position. I wrote this on my website that I added to a position around 100 because I knew like that was the bottom. Like I've been in the stock long enough to know around 195 that
Hmm.
has been support for a while. And as the stock pulls back from 126 to 95 on basically nothing but Fortnite, like worry about Fortnite. I'm like, well, you knock off 5-10% of the value, fine.
Hmm.
30%, no, I gotta buy it. They all,
Oh, I want one. I just want to say like the uh, whole numbers, like whole and half numbers, like the 50s and the 100s and the 125s and the 150s. Like they're really big, support resistance just in of itself. So like I'll just give you an example of like some of the ways that I trade and what I like to look for. Like stocks tend to hover around whole and half dollar mark. So the smaller the stock, obviously, the smaller the mark. So, like, say if you're trading something that's like $5, or I say even $2. So you got like $2, you got like 250, you got $3. So they're like magnets. So like once stocks grow and get bigger, your magnets become more like $5 and $10. So you'll have like $30 a magnet, $40 a magnet, $50, and then 100 is like a really big magnet. Like, and obviously you guys can't see my chart what I'm looking at, but you know, a lot of the support has been in and around the 100
yeah,
area, which is
especially, yeah.
a big magnet. So, that's important too. So you just got to think about like those things. Like stocks like to go and test areas where they were just to see if it's stable, and then they'll continue. It's just like a person. When you're moving, you're running, you're walking, you take a break, and then you continue on
Yeah,
about whatever you're doing. So just
that's a
if
great
something
point.
comes down, it doesn't mean that something's bad. It's just taking a break.
Yeah.
So
And that's why I tell people don't chase stocks. Like I think someone was got impatient. I know he got impatient and bought Square. I'm like, it's gonna come back. Just wait. Just give it a second. It's like it's no rush. If a stock runs up, chances are it's going to come back at least 5% at some point in time. Just take your time.
it has to. And just
And you,
in the grand scale of things, like you just think about it, just people like say you made money, like you bought this stock at
yeah, you're
50
gonna,
bucks.
yeah.
Don't you want to take some profit? Like that's what we're in it for. So like you take some profit, and especially people who know the business and know the trade investment kind of game. So the idea is if you get a good entry on whether it's an investment or a trade. So basically, what you want to do is get the best entry, which would be buying a stock on sale,
Yeah,
just like you're buying like clothes or like food. You want it on a discount, and then when things start to go higher and higher and higher, you want to sell some in hopes that it comes back so you can add. And so basically, you get a good entry. It makes you a ton of money. You take some off. You take some of that profit, and then it comes back down, and then you add some more, and it's like a process. You
yeah,
just do it again. So like that's basically what people love when stocks come down, especially if they know. Back to what Michael said, if you know the company, you know the business, and you know it's good, you want it to come down because you know it's going to go back. So that's what it's about, like
yeah.
knowing what you own.
But and sometimes you do miss it. Sometimes you sell something and it keeps running higher. Then it's the best of both worlds. Either you get to buy more or lower, or you just ride the rest higher. Like
Hmm.
play that part instead of trying to squeeze out every inch and every dollar. And do what makes you comfortable. I've seen too many people going online and asking, "Should I sell this stock? It went up that much." I'm like, well, I don't know what you wanted to do, or like if you're that nervous at, in my opinion, if you're that nervous going online or asking people, "Should I sell?" then you should probably take some profits. Because to me, peace of mind
Yeah,
is valuable.
not being able to sleep at night
Yeah,
sucks. It
it's
really
priceless.
does.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah,
It's
peace
really
of mind is priceless. Like
yeah.
instead of you watching every day, like, oh, I gotta sell. Like just sell some, move on. Then you're rooting for it to come down.
Yeah, you're hoping, like you're hoping for it, and kind of like, uh, this is a little insight. Next week, as we talked about earlier, I'm doing a presentation on short selling. It's kind of the opposite. As a short seller, you want it to go higher. Like you want higher, 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 bigger they are, the harder they fall. Like, stocks take the stairs up and the elevator down.
Mm-hmm.
So you want it to go higher because eventually it's going to come down. So even if it's for a moment's time, as long as it's calculated in your plan, basically, like, my favorite setup when I take shorts is the really good company, like the Square Cash or whatever, that just goes from like $10 to like $45 straight, and it's just gonna have a nasty day because everybody just wants to take some profits.
Those people who jump in at the last minute who are going to freak out if it drops 5% and sell it because they don't know the company. They just jumped on the train.
And
those are the ones that get killed.
Like a chain reaction. So basically, when that happens, it's like, oh, the guy who got in at $20, maybe I'll take some profits.
Yeah.
And then another guy, oh, maybe I'll take some profits. And then like everybody's just taking profits, and it's just like that one day, or it could be a week or so, and then everybody's waiting for it to base out, and everybody to take their profits, and then all the new buyers are going to come back in the stock, and then it's going to go back to where it was at, and it's kind of how it works.
Yeah, you got to buy low and sell high, but it's easier said than done. It's been plenty of times I looked at a stock, like, I'm going to buy it when it gets lower, and it got there. I'm like, I'm just going to wait.
I do it all the time. It's like, I know it's a really good buy, but I'm not sure. And then it goes back up, and like, I should have bought it.
Yeah, I was right there. I've done that numerous times. There's some going back to that half in that whole dollar, that what you were talking about. That happened. I've missed so many, but like 10 cents or something. I put like a whole dollar, and it got down to like say I put in at $30 and got down like $30.05 and then just took off.
And it just, you put the order in and it just never came down.
No. And you check the low of the day and it's like, oh, it was $30.05. Now it's up to like 34. It's just like, what in the world? So I try to move them up sometimes. I try to just move up like 15 cents if I can.
I'm about to say, if it's like really close like that, like it's like, all right, what's 5-10 cents?
I've missed at least two.
Yeah.
Like
I have too. I'll put an order in and it just didn't hit it, and it's like, and then like the human element that you have wants you to like chase it, and you're like, I shouldn't chase it, and then you're like, I know if I chase, it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
To the 30, but if I don't chase, it's not gonna come back. So it's like, what do I do? So like, you got a decision to make.
I
miss to me more than anything. It's like, all right, I'm not going to chase.
Yeah.
And then you chase, and it's like, oh, it came right to where I wanted it
in the first place.
Yeah, so it's like,
no, it happens to me a couple of times, but it happened to me. But I also got one where like I chased it and it kept going up.
Really?
So.
But it usually makes
only
out
once.
Better. It makes out so much better that you don't chase.
Yeah.
Trust me. Like,
usually you find something else. Like that's the confidence you gotta have too. Like if you miss something, you gotta be confident enough that I can find something else. It's not the end of the world.
As long as you know what your criteria is and what you're looking for, like it's hundreds of things that you'll find like over time that exactly in your criteria. So like you trying to get attached with this one stock just because you want it so bad right now because of what it's doing, it's like, don't even sweat it. Like it's so many opportunities out there that I think that's like my biggest problem. Like I'll get so locked into a trade, like so like say like on a normal day, like so I'll go home, I'll do like my homework, like basically I'll have my watch list like 5 stocks or 10 stocks. Usually it's about 10 or 12. And then by the morning, it kind of comes down to about 4 or 5 or whatever. So you got everything that you need. You know where you want to buy at. You know where you want to sell. Everything happens, right? So then, like when the morning hits, it doesn't do what you want it to do. So, but you get so enamored in trying to hope that it does that you miss all the opportunities. So many other stocks like that end up doing what you thought it was going to do, and then you'll go back after the day's over, and you'll look like, how did I miss this, or how did I miss that? And it's like, because I was so focused on this one stupid stock that didn't do what I wanted, and then you kind of get like a little bit stubborn with it and don't leave it alone, and then those be the days where I lose money because of my stubbornness and not just letting it forget about it and just go to the next one. Because if it's not one stock that's doing what you don't want it to do, it's like 3 or 4 other ones that is. So you just gotta look at it that way.
Let me ask you this: does this happen where you have like 5 on the watch list, and they all hit like where you want to buy them or trade them at, and then you're like, shit, I gotta pick like 2 of them to do?
I'm gonna tell you what happens. This is what happens to me. That happens, right? But guess what happens? The one that I do pick doesn't do what the other ones do. So it's like, all right, I got 4 stocks. They all are doing all right. Now it's like, all right, what do I pick? So I pick the one that I pick or whatever, and then it doesn't go, like it doesn't have any legs or whatever, and then like the other ones are just going like bonkers, and I'm like, yo, why is it this stock that I picked not the one that is working, but the other ones? So then what I'll do is I'll be mad and I'll go to like one of the other stocks and like chase it, and then that stops, and then it's just like
it just snowballs.
yeah. So it's like, man, when those things happen, you just gotta just like, all right.
Yeah, that always happens to me. Like if I have a watch list, like if the market's like selling off and I have a watch list, like all right, I got like 5 stocks. It's never like 1 or 2 will come down. They all come down to like the buy point at the 5 time. I'm like, I can't use all the cash.
I'm not good at multitasking, so I can't like monitor like 5 things.
It's not even that. It's just like I don't want to use all the cash at once. Is why I get scared. I'm like, I gotta pick like 2, because before I would really start saving for the wedding, I would have money going in every month. So I was like, all right, I get new cash. Now I got started putting cash away for the wedding. It's like, well, I only got this like stash,
yeah, right.
And so if I use this, that's it. Like I gotta sell something else to do something else.
Exactly.
So I haven't been buying new positions.
Well,
a lot.
I feel like for you, like based on like the way your style is, I think swing trading or something might be good for you, because that way you could participate on some of these really good moves for like a couple of days to a couple of weeks, and then
come out.
Yeah, that way you have like, so basically you won't like, I'm invested with all these positions that I got on. Is like, so if I want to put on a new position, I got to sell some, because I got the rest of the money that I have to do that. I have to do something more important. So it's like, if you like have something and you're just using that to swing trades, like say I'll be in something for like 2 weeks and then I'll look for something else or whatever, you're just recycling that cash instead of like using some other cash.
Yeah. Designate.
And if it starts to accumulate, now you can, instead of putting on 1, you might can put on 2, and then that will just develop your
like designate some of that money
exactly, instead of
for
like
trading.
Yeah, like that's like the main.
And I could too. My like main positions I could, because I know them, so like I know the support points, and I know like when they're getting overheated. I just from following them, I know them. Like I know Take Two is 100. I just bought more Mercado Libre, which I owned for a while. I knew 290 was the support, because that's where I sold it at.
Right.
That was the resistance before.
Exactly. So I know people who don't use charts and they trade. Like day trade.
What do you trade? What do you use then?
So basically, this is what this one guy. This is what he does. He knows the So basically, he'll like, he doesn't use charts to trade like intraday, but like he does look at charts.
Okay.
To find out where all the points at.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he'll be like, all right, support's here, resistance is here, the high of the day is here, the low of the day is here, and he knows that. So he looks at the tape. So he'll just read the tape, which is the bid, the ask, and the time and sales, and he'll put into his position, and then based on everything that he already wrote down, he'll just monitor, and he'll have like sell and exit points already in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like automated, I guess. But yeah, he doesn't use charts. It's really hard for me, but when you really,
it might help him, because then he doesn't make emotional decisions.
But another thing about him is he trades the same stuff.
Yeah.
So like kind of like what you said, like you know everything about your position. So like he knows his, like the back of his hand. So basically he knows how they trade, how they move, where they range. Because it's like certain stocks, like Nvidia, for instance. And I've traded Nvidia like hundreds of times.
Yeah, like at 220, I could have been swing trading.
It got to the point where I knew exactly what it was going to do every day. Like it would open up weak, come down some and rally, and then break the highs of the day, like every day for like a week and a half. Like it'll literally just say it was at this time it was like 165, 170. So it would open up at like, say like yesterday's close was at like 170, and then like today it will open up at like 168, and then it'll come down to like 166, and then it would look like it would break, and then it would just come up 167, 168, 169. By like 12 o'clock, it would be close to the highs, then it would break out the highs, and then a rally would come. Like literally every day it did the same thing, and that's how it was able to like go where it went. It didn't just go like straight up like this day. It just went from 170 to 175, and the next day it would go from 175 to 180. And it might have, but that way it looked like it was about to fade off, and sucked in shorts, and that's how it got up.
Yeah,
So,
because
like,
that was trading like a $25 range like for a while. Like it was like 140. It was like 145 to 170. Then like 170 195. It was crazy.
yeah, it's a really good mover.
I think
man.
I was telling. But again, I talking about like you talking about sleeping at night.
Like doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, you talking about sleeping at night is priceless. I was trimming that thing in the heart. I was out like nope. This thing's running. Nope, I can't. I gotta sleep at night. I'm fine. And you can always look back and be like, oh,
too much, but
yeah.
it's like,
that's why I never get mad. People are like, oh, you missed like a big stock like Netflix. Like no, because I would have been selling some of it.
exactly.
I would
like,
not have
nobody's
ridden
gonna
that
catch
thing.
that run like that because I mean somebody might, but
Yeah,
like,
some people might have the guts to
but
ride
most
all the way
people
up.
like they get like I get nervous when like if I put it on trade and it starts working instantaneously, I get nervous.
Yeah, because other people, someone's gonna beat me to it. Someone
Yeah, I
else
get really
did this
nervous,
trade too.
especially if it's moving really fast, like
Yeah.
a high rate of speed. Like if it's gradually just grinding, okay, I'm good because I know it's probably gonna trend all day. But like if it just shoots right up, I'm selling because I already know.
Yeah, because
like,
someone's
how
gonna
this-
beat you to it.
Exactly, I know how this is gonna end. Like, so I'm gonna let it go to the top, thinking it's gonna keep going. It's weird because it's like when you're patient, you're not supposed to be. When you're not patient, you're supposed to be. So like that's my thing. It's like, all right, they say you're supposed to be patient in your trades. Okay, I know that. So when I try to be patient, I'll have something. Like say I'll buy something at like $10 and it goes to like 11, but I feel like it's got another dollar in it. I'll be patient and not take the profits, and then it'll come back to where I bought it at because, or like I'll take. It's not a loss, but I'll lose a lot of the stuff that I gained because I was trying to be patient. But when I don't be patient, it'll go $4. And it's like, I bought it at 10 and I took profits at 11 and it goes to 15. It's like, so it's like, that intuition comes in. It's like, what do you do? Like,
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm
why I
saying?
like. That's why I like. This is like a secret, not a secret, but like a added benefit I got from doing my website is really serves as a journal. So when you go back and look at things, you can like, oh, okay. You might miss a move, like, oh, okay, I understand why I missed that move. Like Facebook. Facebook is right back where it was before the
Yeah, we talked
Cambridge
about that
Analytical
too.
scandal.
150, right? It went to 150.
Went to 150. I think
Right to a T. Like,
yeah, it's right back. I can't believe it's back
right
in 2
to the
months.
highs.
But
I figured that once I had that
in
earnings,
2 months after the earnings, right?
I'm
I didn't
about to say,
expect
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I didn't expect that stronger earnings.
I'm about
That's
to say, once the
what I
earnings
missed.
came out, I knew, all right, it's going back to the
Yeah,
highs.
because I sold some 166. I'm like, the risk are higher because
So-
they don't know if something else can come out. They're like,
Yeah,
we still
yeah.
checking. We don't know.
They did say that.
And
But
then,
that lets you know what people really care about. Like, they don't care.
But
Like,
they
it's
put
like
out those
something-
numbers were way better than anybody expected.
True.
Like their revenue accelerated, and then they also did not like guide up a lot of expense. It's like, it's going to go up a little bit, but not too much. Which I thought, if you look back in the past, he's always said, it's going to be like substantially higher. So I thought that was coming. So I was like, all right, I'm okay with that miss. Like I didn't sell all of it. I took some profits. Like I'm fine with that miss.
Yeah, I mean,
but-
you still made some money, so like.
But then you look at some of the other ones, like I sold Nike. You looked at it, you're just like, oh yeah, I went to Kohl's and I saw it was on sale and I freaked out, and panicked, and sold. You're just like, what was I doing? What in the world was I thinking? I did the same thing with stock Twilio, where it's just like, I wrote.
I was waiting for Twilio for so long. It was like 25 or something.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, it's gotta go. It's gotta go. It's gotta go.
I waited the whole time, and I wrote. And you checked the post before at the last like third quarter earnings. I wrote like, this makes no sense. This is a
And
good
then
company. I'm
finally
holding
just
it.
hits, and I'm like, yo, like
Yeah.
around like right here. It was just hanging. I'm like, come on.
And it just ripped. And then you used 34 was like the ceiling. And then it just ripped through that. And I should have bought after that. But I was like, I don't want to buy at the high. I just feel weird doing that.
But yeah, it was literally going sideways for
Yeah.
like 6 months.
I was in there the whole 6 months and then sold at the end because I was
Yeah.
like, it might go lower because earnings,
Like literally, it was longer than that, and then it just broke out.
which I knew it was a long term. It was fine. I heard like a story. Someone saying like Twilio was like a verb and like
I remember I traded
Silicon
this on
Valley.
the IPO date. I think it was like 2016.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And that
And I waited to
it
come.
went from like 20. I remember the first day it went from like 25 to like 30, and like probably like in like a month and a half it was at like 65.
Yeah,
And
it came all the way back.
Yeah, it came all the way back to like where it IPO'd at, and that's where it was like going sideways at. And that's another thing that. Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
When I talk about, because I've done this before, IPOs. This is a perfect example of an IPO that literally just took off like a rocket. And
Mm-hmm.
it came exactly back to where it started. And the secondary, this is probably the one that's going to sustain.
Yeah, this second run.
Yeah, because remember what happened with what was it?
Because they did a secondary too. That's what started. It
Oh,
was already falling, but then they did a secondary.
It was one of those stocks that was overvalued. Was it Fitbit or?
Fitbit.
And you know, it just took off, and then you know, everybody found out that it wasn't what it was.
Yeah. No, the
Twitter
problem.
did the same thing.
The problem is you only buy one. You buy one Fitbit, you don't need another one. You don't need a second. That's it. You're done. But which one? So Twilio, and this is an example of chasing. So I wanted Twilio at 30. I think my first buy was like at 30. It ran up. It was like at 32, 33.
Right.
And so now I'm in way too high. So when it starts coming down, I buy a little bit more. But now I'm panicking.
Right.
Because now I'm buying between like 32 and like 27 rather than like 30 and like 25,
Right.
which I felt a lot better.
This is like a lot of range. Like,
Yeah, I was already behind the 8 ball. Now I'm getting nervous. Like, oh, if it drops, oh my God, until I sell it and then it rips. I did the same thing with Wingstop, where it's like I wanted it at 28. I think I ended up, my first buy was like 29.50, and then it came down. I bought a little bit more. But now I'm all tapped out, and it dropped lower, and then I got nervous. I sold it, and I think both Twilio and Wingstop both doubled on me after I sold it. Because I got too aggressive at the beginning. Got myself all nervous.
We talk about that every day, don't we?
Yeah. Sell it and then freak out and then it rips. And I had it right.
Don't put all your eggs. I mean, put all your eggs in the basket, but not like at the same time.
Yeah. Wait for your target. Like if you wait for 30, wait for 30. If it doesn't get there, find something else. Exactly. And that's the lesson I got from those two is just find something else.
Don't just go like blow all the way in and then.
Because then, yeah, you read it, you get excited about it, you see the vision, you see it going higher, but you still got to wait for your time. And I did that. I actually did that with Domino's, but I missed a lot. I think that was part of it because I missed a lot in Domino's. I felt like I had to be aggressive here because Domino's, I was getting engaged, so I didn't have the money, but I saw a pullback, and I was like, I want this. It pulled back from like 130 to 120.
It's like 180 something now, right?
It's like 250 now. And so when I got some money, it just ran up from 120 in a straight line for a year. I mean, it came back, but not a little bit. Pretty much a straight line, like 195. I didn't buy it, but then it started coming down.
Oh, and that's when you bought.
And then we got an analyst downgrade to say,
yeah, that's perfect.
First quarter is going to be bad.
That's perfect.
Nothing about the rest of the year, just first quarter. It came to 175.
That's like a negative thing for me. Like I like when they downgrade stuff.
I love when they downgrade like something temporary. That's the best time. If they see something like in the core, fine. Then I'm worried about that. But they just like they had a bad quarter the first quarter. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Thank you.
I'm about to say, yeah, I appreciate it.
So I got that one. So I waited a whole pretty much like 10 months, but I got it at 175, which was the bottom, and then it ripped higher. Now it's 250. But I think I was thinking about, well, if I got in at 140. When it was first going up, I would have been fine. But now I know, like, peace of mind is priceless. Like, you got to wait for yours because then you won't get scared out of a stock.
I was about to say, if you wait for the target you initially decided that that's where you were going to buy at, anything that happens after that, you already prepared for. So if you wait for a target to say, like, all right, my target's $30. If it doesn't get to 30, I'm not buying it. You already planned in if it doesn't work, like, say it goes to 30 and it keeps falling. Like, you probably already planned, all right, I'm probably going to sell, but say if your target's 30, but it's at 35, I'm like, I don't think it's going to get to 30. And then you buy it at 35.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now it's like, you're going to probably sell at 30.
Yeah.
When you decided that was where you wanted to buy it anyway, and then it hits 30.
It's hard to make that second buy. You're already 15% down. Like, oh, man, what?
Like, yeah.
You start seeing all the worst things in the company. Like, man, this CEO, he don't speak loud enough in the conference call. Man, I gotta sell this thing. Every little thing starts bothering you. You just, I learned the hard way, but
me too.
You gotta wait for your target.
I got a whiteboard in my room, like where I trade at. My number one rule is to follow my rules.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people don't follow.
Oh no, yeah.
I don't follow my own rules.
And what makes it better, I have the website, so I have to write about stuff. So I can't break them. I guess I can if people don't know, but it's like, I have to post this. So this is going in history. Yeah.
It holds you accountable because other people can look at it and comment and say, hey man, you gotta follow your own rules.
Yeah.
So like my second rule is don't chase because that's been my history. So it's like, and another thing about rules, you can't take anybody else's rules. You have to use rules based on
investing.
Things that keep you out of trouble. Like say something that I do that's bad, you might not do. So that rule won't apply to you. So why would you have it? So like it has to apply to the way you trade or invest
Oh yeah.
to keep you out of trouble.
I hate when people argue about like if someone goes online and asks like, "Oh, what should I do with this stock?" and people argue. Like, first of all, you can't ask me. I don't know what you're doing, like what you're comfortable. Like
Exactly.
investing is subjective. Like
Everything's
you have to
subjective.
figure out what you're comfortable with. If you're
Yeah.
asking me what I would do in your position, if I'm online asking should I sell, I probably would take some profits. But he's like, "You're stupid. It's going higher." I'm like, "Well, maybe he can't
why
take
did you
it."
ask me then?
No, but someone else would jump on like, "He's
Oh,
stupid. He
okay,
can't higher." I'm
okay.
like, "Well, maybe he can't take the pain."
Yeah.
Which is fine. Take your profit and run.
Yeah. Sometimes like I ask myself out loud, like if I'm in a position, like because this is the funny thing about like trading and investing, that is the hardest thing for most people to grasp, including myself. If you're in a position, right, and you're down, so you have to really take yourself out of the moment and ask yourself from this moment going forward,
Yeah.
not how much money I'm down, not anything besides from now on, do I think at this point is this stock going to go up?
I wish you told me that when I had Tulio, because that's
You gotta
that
ask
would have helped.
yourself, but you can't not. Don't be rational. It's got to be from the gut, like kind of the quick, intuitive answer, like yes or no, like boom. If I say no, I'm getting out. If I say yes, then I might add.
Yeah.
But
And that's the thing. I thought like
if I don't know, then I might just cut my position size down.
and that's the I all of those two stocks and Nike. I thought I was at the bottom. I knew I was always at the bottom. But I was like, what if I'm wrong? It's really going to plummet because everyone thinks this is the bottom. So if it breaks it, everyone's going to sell.
Everybody's gonna sell.
That was my scare point. But I'm like, I know this is the bottom. I did the work. I know it's the bottom. But it's like the what if in the back of my head. So now I've learned more to play the probabilities. Like there's an 80% chance this is the low. I know it's the low. I'll take that chance.
Absolutely.
And if I'll live with the consequences, but that's the case. Now I know that, but that takes experience. That takes you just doing it. But it's very subjective. Now I will say you should have a group of people you talk
Absolutely.
to that you ask questions like that's going to judge you objectively. Like you know my style or you know what I like to do. Hey, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, Z. What do you think? Like you got to keep your circle small. You can't go asking every
too
random
much
person. Yeah.
information, Too much input.
Because everybody's
is not
different.
good. Exactly.
People who know you and know your style can
And I
tell
was
you.
about to say, and that's another thing too. Not even just know your style, but have a similar style, or can be non-biased to what your style is. Like with me, like I have a style, but I understand the way other people trade, and if I know how you trade or invest, I can not think as of myself. I would think like you, like all right, this is the way this person invests.
Mm-hmm.
So I can objectively answer the question that he asked me based on knowing that I know the way you invest and not thinking of it like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that. Like, obviously we know that. It's not about you. It's about what should I do. So if you know what I do and how I do stuff, if I was you, because the way you do this and the way you do that, I would do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Put yourself in position, especially when you start. You got to put yourself in position not to lose money. If you can stay in the game, you'll learn a ton, and then you'll get better at it. Because there's always that first buy, which is tough. That first one where it comes down, you have to step in and buy it. Once you do that once or twice, it gets a little bit easier. Now, I'm not going to say completely easier, but it gets easier because you know, like, okay, well, there's a chance that they're missing something, or I'm not missing something.
Oh, yeah. And just can't overthink it. Like, sometimes the more information you know,
Yeah, it's too much.
Kind of bad.
Yeah.
Like you think of too many different variables that might not play a position in what's actually happening. So like you gotta like kind of weed out the noise.
I try not
in
to.
your own head.
You're a trader, but I try not to open my brokerage account unless I'm doing something. Like if I'm not in there doing something that I thought about before, I try not to even open it. Because and on the weekends, if I remember half the time, I try to go through the charts and look for like buy points or where I would buy and have a list on my phone, and I can say, oh, it's close to it. Let me just go in and buy it.
Well, what I usually do is like you see these lines and stuff. Like if you go to like a lot of like stocks that I've traded in the past, you'll just see a bunch of lines because like that's what I do. Like I'll just go in and draw lines in places where I feel like are like important areas, and that way when I click, like if somebody like say you tell me about a company, but I already was looking at it, and then you say X, Y, and Z did this, that, and the third, I could go on my chart and see where, all right, well, I was waiting for something like this to happen, so I already know where I feel comfortable buying at. So like that's what I do. Like I don't just be like randomly. I mean I do like to know what's going on, but I'm just setting different price targets. If it gets here, I'll be interested. If it gets there, I'll be interested. Like, and that's pretty much what I do because that way I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want the emotion to take over.
Yeah, I want to because that's my problem. Because I'm an overthinker, I have to do that. So like, all right, you already did the work, idiot. Yeah, just buy it.
The emotion only takes over when it's like I said, when you have 5 stocks you want to buy and they all hit the line, you're like, all right, I can't buy all 5. I gotta buy 2.
So like I have to do that for me.
So I should rank like I should rank how I want to buy them, but it's hard at that moment. Yeah, because that's subjective how you rank them.
It is. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I've been trying to add to positions like and not buy any new ones. Just
yeah, you got a lot of stuff. Though.
Yeah, I got enough stuff. And that's probably like the one.
I was looking at your positions the other day. I'm like, yeah, you got a lot.
Yeah, the report I put out will probably be the last one for a while because I don't need to add anything more. I mean, I can write about the ones I already have, but it's just kind of like I know them well enough. Like there's enough on that page you can find something. But if you want me to look at something, I mean, really, feel free to email me. You might find something I don't know. So what we're up against, and anything else you want to talk about? Because I think we're up against the hour.
I kind of want to talk about WWE.
You can do that. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued with this company. Like, I'm so mad I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so I was telling Albert WWE, and if you were looking in the news this week, they got 2 new TV deals, and it looks like it's for a combined $600 million a year, which is estimated to be 3 times more than the current contracts. And I'm kicking myself because I missed this not once but twice. Like back in December 2016, I went to my friend's house who's like a big WWE wrestling fan. Like he has this party trick where he can legitimately name all the WWE champions from like 1989, like 2000. And he can name like the match they lost at.
I probably was
it's
good at I probably
insane.
Until like probably like 2000.
It's insane. You pull up Wikipedia, he can tell you what match. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. So I went to his house and he was showing me like WWE Network. And I remember watching it and being like, I might buy a subscription when I got home. I got home and I was like, no, I'm not going to watch it. He got me hyped up. But my other friend also went to a WWE event in Philly. He was telling me how crazy it was down there. Yeah, but those are 2 great pieces of information to be like.
Wait a minute, you said the subscription. So it has like its own like
a Netflix, yeah. And it has all the old matches, all the WWE, like $10 a month. Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't watch wrestling right now because so much stuff happens where I don't know one thing from the other. Like I haven't really watched wrestling consistently.
No.
For like the last.
Did you watch the 25th reunion?
No.
You missed that? I watched that. I watched the end of that.
The last time I watched wrestling was, I think, maybe 10 years ago. I think like The Rock had came back or something. But like once The Rock started doing movies and like stopped really wrestling full time, like I kind of.
You know, I never forget when I stopped watching it. It was when I forgot. I think it was Kane, and he took like the old like Vince McMahon wife, Linda McMahon, and they had her on the ramp. I'm like, he's not going to tombstone her on the ramp. I'm like, no way, go let this old lady tombstone on the ramp. Once they let her tombstone. Once he tombstoned on the ramp, like I'm out. Like they went too far. Like they just, it's just too much. Like I know it's fake. You don't gotta rub it in my face like this.
Like 2 moments.
He should be arrested for that.
I think Stone Cold, when Stone Cold and The Rock, I think they fought at like WrestleMania 15 or 16 or something like that. And this is when Stone Cold went bad. They had like the corporate ministry or whatever. When he went bad, I stopped watching wrestling until they had that takeover. Remember the ECW, WCW takeover? Yeah. I started watching wrestling because Stone Cold was like a good guy again or whatever, and like probably for like 6 months, and then after that it was pretty much over, and then it was like here and there. But like all those old matches and stuff, like I be on YouTube trying to find certain.
Yeah,
matches.
They got them all on the network.
Yeah, I really would watch that.
Like I watched I don't know if they still have it, but it was an NWO special on Netflix, which I watched, and I was like back into it for a while. Yeah, so anyway.
Brings back great memories.
Yeah, well, way off topic. So anyway, I saw him and I got excited. How you did? I'm like, if I don't even watch wrestling, had no inkling, and this got me excited. I can imagine how many people are actually paying for this to doing this. And he told me, and my other friend told me about the show that he went to that was like crazy in there. I'm like, and I looked at the stock at 17. I just didn't dig into it. I was just like, whatever. It shot up this year. Last year it shot up. And I looked into it. I'm up like 37. I'm like, let me actually look into this. And I listened to the and they did a presentation at a conference, and they talked about the company. And the funny part was, like, this was during the whole like Facebook data scandal thing.
Right.
So what they do is like, it's $10 a month subscription. They take your information and give it to a third party, and they can find out like approximately your household income and your FICO score. You do not need my household income and FICO score for a $10 subscription. You know what they do is that they use that to market to you. So if you make more money, they'll market you front row tickets, like, and you watch like someone all the time, like your favorite wrestler. They'll market to
so
the
they
team.
know, like, all right, he's gonna be here. You might want to come to this event.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
And they'll market you
That is kind of decent.
at a higher price, but if they think you make lower, they'll give you like the tickets up top when they come.
That's kind of decent.
Which is genius.
That's kind of.
So I'm like, I should, and I was like, I'm like, if it pull back 10%, I'll buy it. It went from like 37 to like 34, and I'm like, I should, but I don't want to buy a new position. And also I read that they were talking about like they were gonna get these new TV deals, and part of me thought maybe that was priced in because the stock doubled since last year. I'm like, everyone got to know these TV deals are coming, and how these sports franchises. Look at how Amazon pays out the ass for like football.
Yeah.
And how and they generate a lot of like fans and a lot of like interest on YouTube and across different platforms, so like people want them. Right. And I was like, it might be already priced in because the stock just ran up here, and everyone knew it was coming. Yeah, it would double again from the original since then. When the deals hit, it just took off. I'm like, oh my god! Like and it makes you mad. Like, I knew about these deals, but I thought they would be priced in, but nope, not even close.
If you guys can see this chart I'm looking at, I mean, this is like one of the beautiful,
17
beautiful flag patterns I've seen in a while.
17 to 58 in 2 years.
And then just in the recent, since like what is this? 2 weeks. It went from 43 to 60.
Yeah, it's up like 45% in the last month.
Crazy. And it looks like it's got a lot of room to go. It's no overhead. It's close to all-time highs. And it looks like it's going to break all-time highs really soon. Yeah. You know, maybe Monday. Who knows?
But that's just an example of like, it's sometimes just things you see for yourself that you're a part of. If you get excited about a product, sometimes take a step back and maybe go look at that company.
Yeah, especially if you watch that like all the time. Like, you know, like you said, like with me, like I don't really know like a lot about it when I watch it. But if I'm watching it every day and I know like what it's doing, like money wise and things like that, and
but even just your reaction just now to the network.
Oh yeah.
How you start seeing people do that, you're like, well, what? that's like a gold mine, like, ding ding, like that might be a business that I might look at.
Dude, when I was a kid, man, it was.
Oh, it's all you did. Yeah.
Wrestling was it. Like,
I had all the friends at the house. My mom got the pay-per-view. It was crazy.
We would have Survivor Series parties. We would have any kind of party, WrestleMania, any major pay-per-view event. We had a party for it. Oh. It could be major or minor, King of the Ring, whatever. So like,
everybody's been
all parties.
Yeah, like, everybody's been powerbomb and choke slam.
We had this car. So my best friend, his cousin, he had this old car. It was like a coupe. I forget what kind of car it was, but it didn't run. So it was like right outside of his aunt's house. We used to wrestle on the car. So it'd be like, you would get like powerbombed on that car. That's what we did. We had like backyard brawls outside.
Everybody got rock bottom. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, man. It was just like, it was like
but
a movement.
That sticks with you when you're younger, and you get older. You would want to go back as long as they provide. I know a lot of people were watching. I went to middle school with. We were kind of chatting about it on social media about the 25th reunion of Raw. They brought all the old guys back in. DX in there fighting. I forgot to fight some new guy. Oh, they all finishing moves. It's like.
Yeah, every now and again, I'll still ask somebody what their name is and hit them with it. It doesn't matter. I remember I did that to my teacher in second grade. At the first day of class, I got the 10-10.
Oh, that first 10 minutes of Raw used to be the greatest thing. The first 10 minutes when they talked
it matter what your
was fire every time.
Yeah, that was great. So yeah, I would definitely buy it.
Just for nostalgia.
I would definitely buy the subscription. I probably will, like, just to watch the old matches. Like, so that's definitely good.
And I don't know if there's even like a I can't remember if there's like a key you can use to find certain matches. My friend just knew what matches. Like, oh yeah, remember that like 60-minute match at like King of the Ring in '96? He just knows them like that. It's crazy. But I definitely watched the whole NWO run again, and it was crazy how everyone wanted to like be an NWO. When oh,
you know, you had the NWO.
When Hawk turned, that was oh man, that was WCW was on top for a while. I remember that. Like I'm not watching Raw, I'm watching the last 20 minutes of WCW with NWO. Too sweet. Spray painting people.
That's why they got Sting, man. When the Wolfpack got Sting, that was like awesome.
All right, with that, all right, it's 7.
We're just doing. Reminiscing, sorry.
All right, key is we're gonna buy WWE probably if it comes back down. That's probably what's gonna happen. Not a big position just for nostalgia, probably. Yeah. You know what? I gotta buy my niece a stock because her birthday was yesterday. It was between Scott. I was gonna do Scott's Miracle Girl. I might just do WWE. I don't ask her anymore. She doesn't care, and she doesn't really give opinions. So I'm like, I'm just going to buy whatever I'm interested in for you. All right, that's it. We're up against an hour. It's been great. If you want to reach us, you can find me at rereports.com. Also, Mike Money 87 on Instagram, and then Mike Money on Twitter. I'm going to leave in the comments as well.
Yeah, me is Albert Jones on Facebook. Pain to Realize Gain on Twitter and on Instagram. I don't really post a lot of financial stuff, but I'll 8 Block member. I definitely, if people message me, I'll get back with you pretty quick. So
yeah, definitely send us questions because we can actually. I would love to do questions and answer them on the air.
That would be awesome.
The next presentation I want to do is a Q&A because I want to know what people are looking for. So I think that's be the most beneficial to everybody. But definitely send us questions. I'd be happy to answer either on live or behind the scenes. That's it. So hopefully we'll see you. Hopefully I'll see you next week. This weekend I'm going away for my bachelor party and I might not make it back. That's the goal. I think that's the goal of my friend. So hopefully see you next week.
All right. Peace.